Hello, my name is Chris Johnson. I serve as the President and CEO here at Vesterheim Norwegian American Museum. And today I want to talk to you about one of the more interesting objects that we have in our collection here at Vesterheim. It's this anchor chain, and this is an object that came to the museum in 2015. And this anchor chain has an interesting story. It's from the German cruiser Blücher, and this was a German warship that served in World War II, and it has the notoriety, I guess you could say, of being sunk by the Norwegians in the opening phases of the invasion of Norway in April of 1940. The Blücher was built right before the start of World War II in the late 1930s, and it was literally a brand new ship. And this invasion of Norway was the first mission that it was going out on. You know, the crew was new, everything was new on the ship when it was sunk. So just to tell you about how this object came to Decorah, after the war, the Blücher, there was a salvage operation on the Blücher where 2 of the anchor chains were recovered, and also a couple of pieces of the links of chain from the anchor chain. And a family in Decorah knew one of the salvage divers, and the salvage diver gave this piece of anchor chain to this family in Decorah, and that's how it ended up here in Decorah and eventually ended up here at Vesterheim. The anchor chain was a component of the German cruiser Blücher. It was, the German cruiser Blücher was part of a invasion task force that was sailing up the Oslo Fjord in the early morning of April 9th, 1940, the first day of the invasion of Norway. And as it sailed up the fjord, it was leading a group of ships, and their object was to capture Oslo and capture the government, capture the king, and basically to establish themselves there in Oslo. As the task force moved up the fjord, it came close to this elderly coastal fortress named Oscarsborg Fortress. And that fortress was manned by Norwegians the Norwegians at first weren't really sure if these were friend or foe, but they determined that they were going to fire on this ship. And they fired on the ship and were able to kind of halt it, and then they launched some torpedoes on the ship, and the ship eventually sunk. And with that, then the invasion task force kind of retreated back down the fjord, and that slowed the invasion force enough that it allowed the King of Norway and the government to escape, and that was key in sort of making sure that the government of Norway continued to resist for several months. Well, thank you for listening today and learning a little bit about one of the more unique objects that we have in Vesterheim's collections. And if you want to learn more about other objects that we're going to be featuring here in the near future, just follow us on Facebook and you'll learn more about some of the fabulous collections we have here at the museum. Thank you.